friends, Jill here with the Hometown Homestead. 30 days ago, I went carnivore, and what has happened has truly amazed me. Now, what is carnivore and why did I do it? Well, that's what we're gonna talk about in today's video. So if you're interested in that and more, hang out, because I'm gonna show you what I've been eating, how much weight and inches I've lost, plus why I started this in the first place. Many of you are familiar with the carnivore doctors on Facebook, but some of you are completely new to this. So if you're interested in any sort of information on why this diet works or what might be good or good for you, Doctors Chaffee and Barry are awesome on Facebook. Put in any condition you have, autoimmune, health-wise, or anything in between, and their names, and you'll see amazing stuff about what this diet can do for you. I've also really liked Kelly Hogan and Steak and Butter Gal, but right now I want to tell you what my results have looked like and what happened to me in the very first week. To start off week one, I just immediately went to full meat, no vegetables aside from a few onions and peppers in my morning omelets, and I dropped 7 pounds. Now, I really didn't have that much to lose. My total goal for weight loss was 10 pounds. So to drop 7 in the first week and a couple inches around my waist and around my hips, I was super pumped about that, and it really pushed me to keep going. Another thing happened during that time. My teeth, which have always been a struggle for me since I've been pregnant or nursing for the last 11 years, which has finally come to a close, my oral health has really taken a toll, and I had some bleeding when I was brushing and things like that, and it completely stopped week one. So if you are interested in something that can really help reduce inflammation and maybe some processes that are going on in your body, I would look into this because I was super amazed. By week 2, my weight loss had slowed, but my sensitivity in my teeth was gone. I was not hungry at all, which was really amazing. I had to push myself to eat a third meal sometimes, and I did not want any snacking in between. So my cravings for sweets, which I've always had a thing for, and my need to always have a snack here and there while I'm making things for the kids, completely gone. And if you're new around here, you might not know, but I have spent the last year grinding my own wheat and making delicious baked goods with freshly milled wheat. And so for me to be able to have no interest in that was really amazing to me. So I was full, completely full, no sugar cravings and no carb cravings by week 2. So if that's something that you're struggling with, hang out. I want to show you a little bit about what I've been eating a little bit later. By week 3, I was only 1 pound above my goal weight. So 9 pounds were gone and multiple inches. I was super shocked that even though my weight loss had slowed, I was continuing to shrink in areas like hips, waist, my thighs, and those are really the only measurements I've been tracking, but I've noticed that my clothes just fit amazingly better. I actually had a pair of skinny jeans and a cute top that I had gotten recently because I found it. It was a really great thrift deal that I scored, but I didn't really like the way it fit around my midsection. And when I tried it on recently, it looked awesome. So I was super happy that even though the weight loss had slowed, that the inches and the reduction in my hips and my waist were continuing to decrease. Now, week number 4, which I'm just wrapping up, I added in the Steak and Butter Gang at the beginning of last week and went back and watched all the old replays because I don't have time to do things 1 week at a time. I know that's, suggested and go along with the group, but that's not me. I just do what I can when I can. So I had just, without knowing it, really been priming for the last 3 weeks. I had been eating and eating and eating everything without limit, no calorie restrictions, no fat restrictions, no protein restriction. My biggest goal was getting it all in. And so I had really been stuffing myself for the last 3 weeks. And by the point where I was ready for week 1 Steak and Butter Gang, I realized I couldn't prime anymore. By the time it was time for me to have my third meal that first day, I could not eat. There was just no way I was going to be able to take in more meat butter or eggs. So I just decided to move on to the fasting phase. When I added in intermittent fasting, it was really, really amazing for me. Really, I'd never been fasting before. I hadn't done it because of the pregnancies and because of the nursing. So this was really my first time to dive into that. And I have just really dropped weight this week. I dropped 3 more pounds, so I'm actually below what my initial goal weight was. Although I'm still well within the healthy like BMI range, and I could still lose, 8 or so more. I'm not sure I want to do that. But the intermittent fasting has taught me that I can go, 17, 18 hours without food as long as I'm giving myself those really, really nourished meals that are nutrient dense and full of fat that my body needs. As long as I'm giving it that proper fuel in between, then I have no problem going long periods of time. So for the past few days, I've been skipping breakfast around here. I did a couple days of OMAD, which if you're new to this, it's 1 meal a day. Again, no problems. My only problem with OMAD came when my 1 meal a day was supposed to be at dinner time. And if I was single and lived by myself, this would be no issue at all. But when I'm fixing a big breakfast for 5 kids and a busy household, sometimes there's things up there that I really want to try. So when my 1 meal a day was at lunch, no problem at all. And I did move a couple of those to lunch just so I could eat with my kiddos. All in, I have lost like 13 pounds, 3 inches off my waist, another 3 off my hips, and I just feel great. I have excellent energy. I feel like my skin is a little better. Again, like I said, in my mouth, everything feels good. I actually had a dental checkup a couple weeks back. Well, no, it was like 10 days in. I was really amazed that he said my gums were looking good. So I was just super happy with that because I know without a doubt that like 2 weeks ago, that would not have been the report that I got. So super happy with what's going on in the first 4 weeks. The answer is, of course, I'm going to continue this. Not only do I feel better, but my energy is amazing, and I've been super happy just with how I felt on this diet. So what exactly have I been eating? Well, today I'm about to break my fast, and I just grabbed a delicious steak out of the fridge that I had thawing overnight, threw on some salt and pepper, and I'm gonna cook it up here in just shortly. But steak, all kinds of beef, ground beef in many different forms, whether that be ground beef mixed with like some really good feta cheese or something of that sort, a taco bowl with some cheese and sour cream, pork, we've been having amazing pork loins, and I've been having massive chunks of that at a time, which that was in the first couple weeks. Now my appetite's adjusting to where it doesn't take that much to fill me up. But in the beginning, I ate a ton of pork at one time. Also bacon, of course. We've been having bacon a couple times a week with zero hesitation whatsoever in doing so because I'm seeing the results that come along with doing that. Other things that we've been doing, of course, hamburgers. I have to tell you, the burger that I had a week or so was so amazing. Just the meat with a little seasoning and spice on top. And it was just so good. I think my body was just to the point where I'm starting to adjust and my taste buds are adjusting. And so having that burger with some cheese, and I'm not going to lie, I had 3 burger patties that day. So 3 burger patties with some just cheese on top, no sauce whatsoever. It was so good. Not only great for me, but I had kids that were asking for more and more. A couple of them were going without the bun too. So lots of choices and directions that we can do, and we have been doing to implement this a little bit more with our kids as well. Not pushing it on them, but I'm definitely giving them the opportunity to go meat and dairy heavy if they want to. And so far, it's been really great. Other things we've been eating, we have some ground bison, which is really, really good. The guys also went hunting and got some deer, so we have venison tenderloin. Oh my gosh, friends. Pan-seared and then thrown in the oven to finish. It is just amazing. Just amazing and so good for you. Chicken thighs, shredded chicken, chicken salad, you name it, we've been doing it. We're also love just a whole chicken, spatchcocked, flash fried on the stove to get the skin really, really crispy, and then slid into the oven to finish off. We also love chicken wings, and I can tell you this. We've been out to eat a couple times while I've been doing this, and I've managed to find restaurants that have wings every time because I can get them. And even sometimes I will say that one of the restaurants, they were still like battered and fried, and I know the batter was probably not great, but I've still been managing to maintain that weight loss doing it that way. And we recently went to take my son for his orthodontist checkup and hit a major wing chain, and I had 15 myself. That was my one meal that day, and I could not eat another bite the rest of the day. So wings have been, we've had them here and we've had them out. In both places, we've been super impressed. Now, the next thing we've been living off of is eggs. And you can see behind me, I have a nice little swirl of eggs back here. We had 8 chickens when we started this. Let me tell you, with 7 people in the house, 8 chickens in the winter when they're molting and not laying as much because they're not getting enough light, totally not enough. So my son is really like set on our homemade or homegrown, I should say, eggs, and did not want to get any store-bought eggs. So we got our hatchery order in for the spring, and we're just going to make it through, right? See what we could do. And in the meantime, somebody reasonably local was getting rid of 12 different hens that she had just got to the laying stage because she didn't have enough time or wasn't getting home early enough to put them up and just didn't feel like she was ready for what she'd gotten into. So we went and picked up 12 more chickens to add to our 8. We ended up with 20 total, and now we're getting 10 eggs a day most days. And so we've been able to keep up with what we're eating here inside. Most mornings for breakfast, when I'm cooking for myself and my kids, we can easily go through 8, sometimes more. So it just really depends. But then there are those days where we don't have eggs, so we have a little bit of surplus. Eggs cooked in butter, fried in butter, or fried in bacon grease have been a staple for us. One more funny thing about the chickens is so far, we haven't canceled that order of spring chicks. So we have 20 more on order, and I'm not really sure if we're going to cancel it because we would be able to water glass a lot of those eggs and keep them for our winter stash. My kids are obviously growing, and if they are going to continue to eat like they are right now, we're going to need more. So we might take our chickens from 20 to 40 here very soon. We also probably are looking into meat chickens for the spring, and I am super excited about that because if we're going to be eating them, we should be growing them ourselves if we have the ability. Then we can make sure that they're on pasture and that they're getting the best food and just taken care of in the most amazing ways. So that's something that we're kind of dipping our toes into and trying to figure out because if we're going to do that, we need to get our order in soon. Okay, so back to food. Aside from the meat, the things that I've been eating, heavy cream, which is raw from a Jersey down the road, cheeses, I get a lot of raw cheeses from Azure Standard, and I'm going to have a big order coming in on that. So if you want to see how I bulk buy awesome cheeses for the Carnivore Diet, make sure to subscribe because I'm going to have that out soon. My snack, my one snack for dessert lately has been a big old chunk of cream cheese. And I have to tell you, it tastes so sweet and so delicious, and I am super happy when I pull that out. So again, dairy, meat, eggs, so good. That's about the maximum that we've been eating around here, aside from a few onions and a few peppers. Or I should say me. Everybody else is still having a lot of what they love. They have the option to come over to my side if they want. Now, one of the things that is a staple around here is Friday night, pizza night. And the first time we did pizza, I was a little bit sad because I didn't take into account what I was going to eat. I was just going to make it for them and move on. But this week we made pizza, and oh my gosh, I made the pizza with the mozzarella, egg, and Parmesan crust. And that pizza was so good, and it absolutely cured my pizza craving. My husband loved it, and my little one snuck in and grabbed an extra piece for herself. So I really think if we ended up with the whole family moving more meat-based, I would be able to still give them the pizza that they love, and also do it in a way that really, really was full of carnivore, ketovore ingredients that would help to nourish. I had pepperoni, sausage, and I have bacon bits in there, and I totally forgot to add them. Feta, mozzarella, which is an organic mozzarella that I get from Azure, and just, it was so good and so filling. If you eat 1 or 2 pieces of that, it is way more filling than my freshly ground crust that I've been making as well. So I made 3 pizzas. One was cheese sticks, one was the regular Supreme, and then one was the egg and cheese crust. And I think we'll be doing that for quite a while coming down the road. Now, these last 4 weeks were not without temptations. My town has an annual Christmas parade, and with 5 kids going up to watch because it's right outside our door, we always get so much candy thrown our way. And I have to tell you, I have a huge sweet spot for Milky Way candy bars. It goes back as long as my butter addiction that I mentioned earlier. So when the bags came back, 4 huge bags full of candy, I hate it. And I always have my kids, we sit down the first night, we go through everything that's out there, and we make bags to give to some family members, and quickly the things that I don't like start disappearing. But my kids know that the Milky Ways and the peppermint patties and a few other things are something that I really, really love. And I didn't have the craving for one of them. The candy was here for a few days, and now it's completely gone because, like I said, I move things out around here really fast. So I didn't have one Milky Way. I didn't have one piece of cake that came back from a dinner that night, and I didn't regret it one bit. And usually I would just grab a few handfuls of those Milky Ways and put them up high for mom when I needed a pick-me-up snack, but I didn't have that craving whatsoever. Thanksgiving was also during this time, and I managed to do a really good job of only eating things that I felt like were going to nourish me. So I really feel like, I know a lot of people like to put it off till the new year. As my brother says, this is the bulking phase. But for me personally, I feel like starting before Thanksgiving was a gift because it took away my cravings for the stuff that I was going to have to take a lot of time to work off of for the spring moving forward. So if you're thinking about starting at this point, super close to Christmas, I still feel like you can do it, but it's totally up to you. Make sure to do what's best for you, but don't let the calendar decide when you are ready to take a step in the direction that might bring you more health and wellness to your family. So all in 30 days, I'm down 13 pounds, 3 inches from my waist, 3 inches from my hips, and I feel so much better. And I cannot believe that in that time, I kicked sugar and carb cravings that have been with me since I can remember. It is truly amazing what can happen when you take carbs and sugar completely out of the picture. Now, some of you might say, carbs, yes, there are some carbs in eggs. There are a little or often a few carbs in the cream cheese and some of those things. But my total daily carbs, I'm talking total, not net. My total daily carbs were usually 5 to 7. In comparison, most diets are in the 100 range or higher, hundreds. So when we're talking 5 or 7, basically carbs are gone. The carbs that I'm getting are from real whole food sources, nothing pre-processed or packaged. One question that I have received when having this conversation with friends and family is, what does this mean for my huge garden? Well, great news is that tomatoes, peppers, onions, garlic, those are all a go on this diet. And so are the herbs that I like to grow as well. So while I won't be growing potatoes, which I had 100 pounds of last year, and I won't be growing a few other things, I will still be growing an amazing garden that will produce all of the vegetables that I am going to need for my family for the coming year. If you're interested in gardening and setting up a keto style garden, definitely hang out because I'm going to be planning to do that in the spring. So what do you think? Am I crazy? Have I lost it on this one? What comes to mind when you think of cutting all carbs and vegetables? If you have comments or you have your favorite carnivore keto recipe, drop them in the comments below because I would love to learn and hear your opinions on what I've been into lately. If you'd like to follow the meat eating journey and how it kind of comes around and how I work it into what's going on here with my kids, again, you might want to hang out because January is a time where I always do a pantry challenge. So I shop out of what's in my pantry, not the grocery stores. So I'm going to be pulling from freezers and from what we put on the shelf and we're gonna be seeing what we can do for 30 days usually, maybe 45, of just meals. And I'll be showing my carnivore meals as well as what I'm feeding my kids at the same time. Thank you all for stopping by and hearing a little bit about my newest journey and what's going on around here. If you're interested in all things keto, carnivore, plus anything that is homemade, homegrown, or homeschooled, make sure to hang out because this one is gonna get good. I'm so excited to see where this goes. So thanks again for stopping by the Hometown Homestead. It's time for me to go eat my steak.